Hello out there once again, all my fellow Fix-It engineers. Welcome back to How to Satisfactory 1.1. Today's episode, we're going to be continuing on from where we left off in the last episode, finishing up all of our tower's inner workings and getting everything put together to build those important space elevator parts so that we can finally complete phase 2 and move on to start getting into some really cool stuff like trains and oil. This is going to be another longer episode, so instead of me babbling on, let's go ahead and get started. We're here on the 4th floor of the tower, which is going to be where we have assemblers making our space elevator parts. Right, so let's find the center of this floor right here, which is going to be about 8 foundations away from the elevator exit right here. So this should be the middle right here. Now on this floor for the moment, we are going to need to place 5 assemblers down up here. We're going to have 2 making the smart plates, we're going to have 2 making the versatile frameworks, and we're going to have 1 making those automated wiring systems, because we only need 100 of those while we need 1,000 of the other 2. So I'm thinking let's bring all of the parts right down the middle here in this cross section, which means we'll need to put our assemblers on each side of this. Now, where you place your assemblers isn't a huge deal here for the most part, because this is all going to be temporary. We only need this setup right now at the moment to complete phase 2. Completing phase 3 will be an entirely different setup for this floor. So I think what I will do is I'll take my first assembler here, and this is going to be the one that's going to make our automated wiring. And I'll place it right in the center on my right hand side. So if I'm facing west, it's going to be facing towards the north. Let's turn it around so the back of it is facing us right here. And let's just get it kind of centered up with this foundation. Let's see. Let's make it right about there. That's perfect on that one. And then let's come over here and let's do 1 foundation in between. Let's place another one right next to it right here on this side. And another one over here, 1 foundation away on this side. And oh, looks like I'm missing some rotors. So I'm going to have to go grab some parts in order to finish this off. All right, let's see here. I will grab a full stack of 100 rotors. And, you know, while we're here, let's go ahead and grab a stack of modular frames. Might need those. I don't think I do, but might as well grab a stack just in case. We'll come over here and we'll fill up on the steel beams. I've got, let's see, 2.5 stacks right now at the moment. Let's just go ahead and make that 3 full stacks. Gonna need those to make our Mark III belts after all. Make sure that I got a full stack of the steel pipes. I've got plenty of rods. I'm running a little low on the iron plates, so I'll go ahead and grab some more of those. Plenty of cables. I think I'm good on everything else except those plates. So I'll go grab some of those and then head back over to our tower. All right, now we can finish up what we were doing here. So let's see, copy that assembler. Let's place it 1 foundation away on the right-hand side of that one. And let's see, right about there. Oh, it moved on me at the last second. I hate when that happens. I'll just lock it down this time to make sure it doesn't move and then place it. There we go. All right, so 1, 2, and 3. Middle one is going to be for our automated wiring. And then the one on the left and right will be for smart plates and the versatile frameworks. But like I said, we're going to need 5 of these. So let's go ahead and we're going to take and throw another one. We'll turn that around backwards and let's place it right behind this one here facing this direction. Get that nudged into place so it's just where we need it. All right, and we'll come down here and we'll throw another one behind the one down here as well. So we'll line that up. Just use nudge to get it just right. That looks fairly lined up to me. All right, let's go ahead and place that down. And man, you know what? We're out of AI limiters again. So I guess we're going to have to make some more of those. Come back over here to our elevator. We'll plop down a crafting bench right here next to that. And then let's go ahead and make, let's see, how many am I going to need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to need 6. So let's do 6 AI limiters. I got enough parts to make 10. I'll just go ahead and make a full 10. Back to finishing this up right here. So again, let's go ahead and grab a smart splitter. Let's place it right behind that one right there. So, and let's have it so that the input is coming from the east and going west. So like that. And then let's place another one in line with those. We'll just work ourselves backwards here because I always find it easier to go backwards. And then these two. There we go. So we place down 6 of these, 2 for each set right here. And let's go ahead and set up our machines. So we'll have our first one here. Let's do smart plates, which needs reinforced arm plates and rotors. I'll go ahead and copy these settings, come over here, and then I'll hit Control V to paste that in there. And as you can see, we are now making smart platings on this one as well. Let's go ahead and connect the belts up from our smart splitters to this assembler, like so. Probably easier to do from the top, so I'll hop up here. Let's see. Oh, we got to go in between from there to there. Let's go ahead and connect these two together while we're at it. And then let's set up our smart splitters. So let's see. Reinforced arm plates and rotors. Okay, so we'll do left and right will be the reinforced arm plates on this first one here. And we'll just match it for the other side. And the overflow for the center right there. Let's copy these settings to make this next one easier. Come over here to this one. Go ahead and hit Control V and configure. And now we can just change these two guys. Let's do rotors. There, and let's see here. Rotors. There we go. Okay. So rotors and reinforced arm plates, we're going to each side here into both of these assemblers. That will complete our smart plating. Now, the next one is going to be automated wiring. Let's set that machine up for automated wiring. Stators and cables. Okay, so this one we only need one of each instead of going to both sides. Let's go ahead and get our belts in here like that. Don't forget to connect between the two smart splitters. And we'll go ahead and do these guys. Come back here to this one. Doesn't matter which one of these you do which to, as long as you have it set up, you know, so that we're getting the right parts to it. So I'll do cables first. Cable and cable. And overflow. And this next one we'll do stators. So I'll just start typing out stators. Stators and overflow. There we go. And then our last two over here, that's going to be the versatile frameworks. Let's go ahead and assemble these. There we go. Modular frames and steel beams. Okay, let's head over here. Configure this one. Same thing. Modular frames. Let's connect every one of our belts up here. Belt, belt, and belt. Okay. Let's go ahead and put an output coming off of this too, like so. And then we'll configure our smart splitters. So let's see here. I'll do steel beams first. Overflow, steel beams. And then this next one will be our modular frames. So I'll just type in modular frame, overflow, and modular frame. And there we go. All right, so that should complete everything down through here. Oh, but you know what? We do need to put in our outputs here as well. So let's see here. So my first thought was to have it come around, and then come down here, and we'll put a merger in between these two, and then connect the other one up the same way over here. And that way it'll just kind of combine in with the rest of everything else going down this line. But I really don't want to clog up those lines. So let's do something a little different. Let's do this. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a conveyor belt. Let's bring it, make sure straight mode is on. Let's just kind of bring it out a little bit here. Let's do the center right there. And then we'll come over here and let's grab a merger and let's make sure everything is right, going the right direction here. Let's place it in front of this last one down here, like so. And then we'll connect that up to that. Connect that up to that. There we go. All right, so our smart plates will come out of there, come down through here, and merge in with the output from our versatile frameworks. Let's go over here to the other side, and we're essentially going to do the same thing over here, but we have an extra one. So let's go ahead, we'll bring that out like so to the middle, put a merger in front of our one making our automated wiring right there. And another one in front of this one, making the versatile frameworks. Line everything up. Connect everything up. There and there. And connect this one up to there. There we go. And then we'll have everything kind of come down through here, and we'll have it meet at the end down here. So let's do one more merger right about here. We'll have an output going that way. Connect that to that. And then we'll connect these over to that merger. Hop over the belts here. Connect that into that. There we go. And then we have everything left over plus our new parts coming down through here and then heading that direction. All right, so our assemblers for space elevator parts are all in place. Next thing we need to do is bring up all the parts from the floor below that are going to be used to make the space elevator parts. All right, so down here on this side where the smart splitters begin, we're going to take and put a Mark III conveyor belt into that smart splitter right there. And we're going to bring that straight out all the way over to, we'll put it right here on the edge of this one. Doesn't really matter where you place it. The idea is just that we're going to have it going this way. And then we're going to go over here to the northern side, right here on this corner. We're going to grab a conveyor belt hole or a conveyor lift floor hole here. And we're going to place it, so let me lock that down, nudge this into place, one space away from each side right here on this corner. If you want to be technical, it's actually 2 spaces, but it's 1 space away from the vents right there. So right there. We'll put a conveyor lift on top of that, facing towards us, like so. And then we'll take our conveyor belt, attach it to that, make sure straight build mode is on, and connect it into the belt that we brought out of the smart splitters right there. All right, so now that is ready. So all the parts we're going to bring up are going to come up through here onto this belt, head into the smart splitters, get divided off into making our space elevator parts. But we still have to bring the parts up into this top of the conveyor lift right here. So let's drop down here, and then let's drop one more floor down here below us to where all of the logistics stuff is happening down under these assemblers here. And what we want to do is let's take out this foundation right here and this foundation right below it right there. And we want to put a floor hole above us. So I will place that there, lock it into place, and then move it to match the one above it right there. So it's going to be right there. All right, then we're going to take a conveyor lift, attach it to that floor hole right there, and we're going to bring that down to the floor right there so that it is right in front of this smart splitter right here, and place it just like that. Remember to spin it, like reverse it, so that it's going into that. You should see our guidelines moving there. And then we're going to take and put a conveyor belt from there to there. Then we're going to come back up here to this top section, and we're going to place some mergers in front of each of these guys right here, just like this, making sure our output is facing towards our conveyor lift right there. So there, and then here, and here, and then take one more merger, and we're going to place it on that lift right there so that it goes into it like so. And then we're going to connect all of these up. Then connect all of these containers to these mergers right here, like so. At that point, we can now erase the foundations underneath of those, like that. And then that should look much better right there. We need to come over here. So that's going to bring in our cables, stators, and rotors. And of course, the modular frames we're making above are coming down right here. They're going into this merger right here, which is running down through here. Since it's not going into a box, it's going to go into this one. So all of these top ones are going to go into that one. Anything left over on the bottom is going to go into there, including our modular frames. The only other 2 things we need to make our space elevator parts are these 2 right here. We are going to need these steel beams right here and the reinforced plates that we are also using here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this section out that we built earlier, right there, that ceiling mount. And we want to do the same thing here. Let's take a merger, place it in front of this first one where the steel beams are, like so. But now on this one, what we want to do is let's place a splitter right here. And let's turn it so our input is coming from the box right there, like that. Connect the box to the splitter. Connect this one to the ceiling, like that, giving it a little bit of an angle coming up. And then from there into that splitter right there. And then connect this splitter to this merger. Connect these two mergers together. And then the box with the steel beams is going to connect into that merger. We can then get rid of the foundations underneath of those mergers right there. That should clear that out and look much better now. Last but not least, we need to take out these two foundations in between our two sets of containers right here. And we need to connect these two guys up with each other here. I didn't do that before. We're going to go ahead and do that now. So let's do that. And then we need to make sure that everything is connected down through here before we continue, and make sure that everything is a Mark III belt. Like when I come over here where everything is coming up right here from our truck station, one thing I noticed is that I have, for some odd reason, Mark I belts right here. That's not going to do. We need that to be a 3, so I want to make sure that is switched. And now everything should be connected from coming up from our truck station, coming up, running down through here, getting split into all the boxes, going into our assemblers on the upper floor right here, coming all the way down here to the last end down here, and going into this conveyor lift and that merger on the conveyor lift. Let's see, there is still one more connection I need to make, and that is from the floor above us to the floor above that. So we'll go to the train station floor. And then all the way over here in this northeast corner right here is our 2 floor holes above and in front of us right here. Let's go ahead and run a conveyor lift from there to the top, down to the bottom, so they click together. And that should do that. And that should take care of everything except power. I'll come back to the power for this level in a moment. Next, we need to make sure that we're sending the right parts up to the space elevator. But remember, we have a storage floor up there as well. So probably need to go set up that storage floor right now. All right, once again, we'll hop back in the elevator. We'll go to the next floor. This one is, of course, going to be storage. And for this floor, I think the best bet is let's go ahead and just start putting some small containers all around the edges. All right, so starting from where we would come out of the elevator, let's head to our left over here. And let's see, we need to count this out, make sure we have this perfect. Let me go ahead and place some foundations down on this corner over here. Where'd that go? That went to the wrong place. Let's try that again. On top, if we can. Well, that one will do. We'll place that one there for the moment. And it's being difficult. I'm just going to nudge it into place. There we go. All right, so then we can get these on top of each other, there and there. And this will be our first section. All right, so let's find the middle foundation. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is the middle foundation right here. Let's go into our build menu, grab a storage container. Let's do nudge right here so we can get it. We'll have the input on the back. This is going to be set up pretty close the same way we did the ones way down below us there. Let's get this little lip that overhangs right here on the input, right with the seam of that foundation right there. And let's move that over to right on the edge of that foundation right there. And then let's place 2 more right next to it. There. And then we'll do 1 more for a total of 3. Now let's come over here. Let's do the same thing. I'll nudge this one into place. Get it on the edge. There you can see there's our guideline. That means it's lined up. Let's move it over. Let's see. So it's just on the edge. That looks right to me. So we'll place that one. And then we'll get 2 more of these in here. There's our next one. And here's our last one. If it'd go in there. It's being difficult. I'll nudge it. There we go. All right. That will work. And all right. So now what we want to do is let's do this all the way around every side and get as many storage containers as we can in here. So we're just going to do this all the way around. Don't forget to throw in your 4-meter foundations here on the edges so that we can keep track of everything. All right, so I've got all of the pillars in now. Next, we just have to do all of the containers on each and every one of these edges down through here. So again, we just find the center of each one of the sides, and we take and we put this on here. Again, let's see, just so that the edge is just a little bit over. Let's move that back one, and then we'll place two more next to each other. So this way we have 6 containers on each side of our building right here. All right, so that should take you a little bit, but once you're done, you should have a total of 42 storage containers all the way around our building. This should handle basically every part that we need to make in the game, or at least I hope it does. I mean, worst comes to worst, we can double stack. All right, so now from our elevator, let's move over here to the ones on the left. Once again, the ones we started with right here. Let's come over here to this. Let's take this one out right here, and we'll take we'll take both of the ones on the bottom out is what we'll do. And let's come over here. So let's see, that's going to come up. Let's do it in the center of this. So I'm going to grab a conveyor lift floor hole right here, and I'm going to put it right in the center of this, right there. Okay, let's go ahead and we can put this one back now. We no longer need that one. We'll leave this one empty. Let's put a conveyor lift on the top of that. Make sure it is an output. From here, let's go ahead and drop back down to the floor below us right here. Then let's take a conveyor lift, attach it to the floor hole we made just a minute ago. We're going to bring that down to the floor here, and like that. And we just need to get from there over to there. Let's bring a belt out from that lift to the edge right here. Bring it straight out to that seam right there in that foundation in front of the conveyor lift. And then let's see, can we get this to go this way and have it kind of straight? Almost. It's a little off. Ooh. Straight mode doesn't really work. We want to use default mode, I think, for this. Let's see here. Looks like if I take it to right here, that's pretty straight. And now from the merger at the end of all of our assemblers right here, we are going to take one more conveyor belt, Mark III. Build mode is straight, and we're just going to join these two together. And now all of the parts that we're making on this floor for the space elevator to complete phase 2, as well as any leftover parts that we have coming up that we're not using and, you know, don't get sorted out down below, all going to come up this way, go through all the sorters here, come along through here, go up to the next floor, and then we're going to sort all of those out into more storage containers. So let's go ahead, travel back up to the next floor, and then we're going to set all of that up. Once we're back up on this floor, we're going to come out of the elevator, we're going to take a left back over here to where all of our parts are going to be coming up at. And at this point, what we need to do is we need to put, well, I guess smart splitters on the back of every single one of these storage containers. Well, we don't really need to do all of them. Let's just do the first let's do the first 3 sections for this moment, and then we can do the rest of them later. You can do all of them if you want. That's going to be a total of 42 AI limiters we're going to need. Might as well go ahead and build us another crafting bench while we're here. And in order to make more AI limiters, I'm going to need, let's see, I've got plenty of copper sheets, but I'm going to need quick wire. You know, if only there was a place where we had plenty of quick wire just hanging out that's very close to us. Oh yeah, right down there. We got an entire truck station full of the stuff. One thing of it should do fine. All right, and from here, we'll just use our elevator and head back upstairs. All right, and let's go ahead and make all of those AI limiters we're going to need. So at a bare minimum, we'll need about 18 of these things. At most, at least 42. And a complete stack of 500 quick wire will only net me 29 with what I already had. Huh, how about that? No biggie. I'll make the 29 work. All right, let's go ahead and start placing down our smart splitters. And again, I'm going to do this backwards. So I'm going to come all the way down here to the end with our first smart splitter. There we go. Let's place it so that it's facing the inputs facing us, outputs facing away, like that. And then we'll just line it up right in the middle of the foundation to every one of our storage containers down through here. And there's our last one. We'll jump up on top of these guys. Let's go ahead and do all of our belts. So from there to there, connect up all of these, and then connect all of the smart splitters up to all of the containers. Now, this first section, we're going to set up to have this store all of our basic parts, like the very first things that we actually make. So I'll do write output here. The first one would, of course, be iron plates. And then overflow in the middle, none to the left. Copy the settings, move to the next one, configure, paste settings. Next one is, of course, going to be iron rod. So we'll have the iron rods to be stored in the second container. Move on to the next one, paste our settings, and then do, let's see, iron rods, screws, maybe? Yeah, we'll just do all the basic metal stuff first. Move to the next section, and we'll have this do, let's see, let's do reinforced plates here. So paste settings, reinforced iron plates, there we go. Our next one, let's do copper stuff. So we'll do wire here, followed up with copper sheets, and then that's our first 6 down through here. Let's hold it over here to our next section, and again, let's go ahead and place down our smart splitters. All right, and make sure it's turned the right way. That's weird. I don't know why I'm not getting my guidelines right there. That's crazy. Oh, okay, I got it, because that's being really weird there, and I don't know why. So we'll just move that back. I'll use nudge, hold down control, and then push it back one, and then that does it. That's weird. Don't know why that's doing that. All right, so I had to individually do the control and nudge so I could get a half a nudge on each of these to get these into place, but whatever, it works, right? Oh, it doesn't work because that's not lining up. Why is that not lining up? Okay, straight doesn't work. Default works. Strange. All right, we'll just do default. And once again, we're going to connect all the smart splitters together and all of the containers to the smart splitters. And then configure our smart splitters. So once again, I'll just hit paste settings so we get the overflow and the iron plates to the right here. And then let's do cable on this one. Since it's one of the last things made out of actual copper, that's going to go in there. All right, moving on along, our next one we'll do, I guess we can start doing the more advanced stuff in here. Let's do, oh, actually, no, let's do steel beams and pipes. So that'll be the next 2. So we'll do steel beams here. The next one, we'll do steel pipes. That'll put us into the next section of 3. So we'll come over here. And then this is where we'll do rotors and then stators, paste settings, change that to stators. There we go. And then modular frames. All right, that actually works out pretty good right there. All right, and then we'll go on to the next section right here. So all of these guys, again, grab our smart splitters, come down to the end, make sure everything is facing the way we want. And let's see, get it centered up. There. 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 Connect everything up down through here. And these will be the last section I do for this episode and set up. Of course, you can kind of continue this any way you want here. The idea is this is just going to be storage. The only thing we're going to be doing with any of this stuff on this floor is getting it when we need it to have it in our inventory. So for the first one in this section, I think I'll set this up for motors. And you know, honestly, for the rest of this, I don't really know what I need. Let's just head on down here to these last ones. And let's just set these up to be storage for, I guess, the extra parts we're making. Like, we'll throw this one as smart plating, because why not? And then we'll come backwards here, and I'll do automated wiring. And then we'll do versatile framework. This may change later on, but yeah, I'm going to keep it like this for the time being. And the rest of the ones I'm not going to worry about. However, we do now need to connect each of these corners up. So let's come over here to where this one ends and this one begins. Let's go ahead and take these guys out like so. And let's grab some conveyor belts. Make sure we're on straight mode. And can I just connect these guys together? No? Okay. What if I do this? What if I bring this out to the middle? Right there. And then I bring this one out to, say, the middle. And then connect these two together. Will that work? That actually did work. Okay, perfect. And then I'm just going to put these foundations back. Come over here to the next one, and we'll connect these two up the same way. So I'll take these guys out, grab some of this. We'll bring this out to the middle. Just got to make sure that that is perfect right there. Perfect and straight. Bring this one out to here. And then connect them together like so. Okay. Put our foundations back. And that should do for now. My biggest fear is if I don't finish this now, what's going to happen is our line's going to get blocked up, because once let's say we have too many automated wirings being made, right? And we send too many up, and then it gets into this container and it fills up the container, and then it's going to lock up the rest of the line and nothing's going to be able to get through. So at that point, it's going to back up everything. So I need a way to get rid of all of that and send it back down to, say, oh, I don't know, a sink. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. All right, so for the time being, let me just do this. Let me take these out, and I'm just going to take a line and start it from here, from where we left off right here on this last smart splitter. I'm just going to run a conveyor belt all the way around until we get back over there to where our space elevator is, and leave it at that. I'm not going to bother with putting smart splitters in here just yet, but like I said, we'll just continue kind of what we're doing here. There we go. And then just connect these two up to each other. And just run this belt all the way around. Come to the corner, turn it around like so. There we go. Run it down through here. Make the connection on the corner. Take out the foundations. And so forth and so forth. Until we get all the way back over here to where the elevator is. All right, and then I got to think about this. So I'm going to stop on that section for now. And that should do it. So let's see. I got to figure out how we're going to get this down and where we're going to put a sink in this building. All right, so I've made a decision here. Before I figure out how we're going to get all the extra stuff down and where to put a sink, let's go ahead and figure out how we're going to get the space elevator parts up to the space elevator. So let's head up to our top floor. All right, and then let's go to, you know what? Let's go to each side right here of the space elevator, and let's put in some floor holes in front of each of the inputs. So the space elevator has 6. It has 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. So let's go ahead and do here, here, and here. We also might as well go ahead and throw some conveyor lifts on top of those. Then let's come over here to the other side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, now that's set up. Let's drop back down to the floor below us. You know what? I'll just do this. And then fall down here. Okay, so there's our floor hose we have in the ceiling that are going up into the inputs of the space elevator. Let's see. I put the space elevator parts over here. And you know what? I think that may have been a bad idea. Let's go ahead and change this up. Let's come back over here. Since I don't want to have to make more AI limiters, let's go ahead and take out the smart splitters we have here and the conveyor belts going into these containers right here. And let's go ahead and fix our conveyor belt system down through here. And we'll just combine this all into one. Then let's come over to these 6 containers that are in the very back of our tower, directly across from the elevator coming up. So these 3 right here. So since our floor holes are right there, I think if we were to do something kind of, I don't know, we'll bring them to the middle and across the ceiling, and then we'll bring this stuff out of here. So let's go ahead and take out the conveyor belt right here in behind all of these containers right here. And then let's take and put a few smart splitters. You know, I'll start with the ones farthest away. Sure. We'll place it right in the center of the foundation in front of the second to last container right here. We'll start here. We'll put another one right here. And then we'll come down to this one right here. There we go. And then we'll connect everything up with belts. Splitter to splitter. And then splitter to container. And then we'll connect our last smart splitter up with the rest of the belt that goes all the way around over to where our elevator comes up. And then let's reset these smart splitters back up right here. Center will be overflow, and then over here we're going to send in our space elevator parts. So again, the smart plates. The next one will do the versatile frameworks. And then our last one right here, of course, again, overflow in the center, and then we'll do the automated wiring. There it is. Okay, so we're using these three in the center right here. This one and these two. Let me put our floor back in there. Let's throw some conveyor lifts onto these guys. We'll do the two on each end right there, and then I'll do, you know what, why not the middle one on this one? Because why not? Then let's come over here to our containers, and let's throw in a conveyor lift on the first container here that has our stuff coming out of it. And let's raise that up all the way until it turns yellow, and then bring it back down one. That way it's right up against the ceiling. And we'll do the same thing on these two over here. So spin it around so it's facing the center of our tower. Raise it up one. There we go. And then all we have to do is connect with belts in straight build mode on. And we'll connect that to there. We'll connect this one over to here. And then we'll take this one and we'll connect it to that one. Okay, so all of our parts will come up. What gets sorted gets sorted. It comes around through here. It will take off the smart plating, versatile frameworks, and the automated wiring. Set it into these containers. And then from these containers, it will go up to our space elevator. That should do the job. Okay, with this part fixed, let's turn our attention back over here to where we're going to put a sink, how we're going to get all the parts down to said sink, etc. So I have an idea. And to do so, we're going to head all the way back down there to the bottom floor. And I mean the very bottom down here. Right in here. Whoop. Alright, so where our truck loading stations and stuff are, let's kind of come all the way here to the very back. So there's our elevator going up. We want to go to the opposite side of this. The very back of the tower. All the way over here. So if we are facing north on the back of the tower, we turn around. This wall right here. Let's go to either side of this. Let's grab some doors. Let's do the center door right here. And let's replace, let's do the middle there. And let's pop in here. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to remove the center of this floor. All of this in here. Let's just get rid of this. We're going to make a 2x6 gap in the floor here. All right, very good. Now let's go ahead and take one of these foundations. Let's make it a 4 meter, and let's put it on the bottom of one of those, like so. And then we'll put a 1 meter on the bottom of that. Let's turn zoop mode on, and let's run this across. So we're going to make 3 there, 3 there. And you know what? Let's do another 3 right there. So we have a 3x6 now, and we might as well go ahead and just cover up the floor, honestly. We can take out that 4 meter foundation right there. All right, now we got the groundworks laid in. Let's get ourselves a sink. One awesome sink, and let's place it on the floor we just made. Lock it into place so we can nudge it around. And let's center this guy right here. So let's put him right there. I want to make sure that the input going into this is centered up. Let's go over here to the back. Let's make sure we're not running into any ground or anything. We can push it forward a little bit here. That's pretty close. I almost want to move this thing up a little bit, but you know what? That's pretty good. If we move it up, the top of that's going to go through the floor even more than what it already is, and I don't want that. So let's move it as close as we can to this wall right here, and we'll just call it a day. Place it down. Let's come over here to the front. Let's grab a merger. There we go. And let's place this in the middle right here in front of it. And let's turn it so the input is going in. Something like, we might as well go to this middle of the foundation here. Something like that. Right there. Okay. Then we'll connect that up with some belts. There and there. And let's bring one out. And let's have it go to the ceiling. Something about like here. There we go. That way we have a nice kind of incline going up the belt right there. I guess it'd be coming down because we're going to be bringing stuff into this merger and out. Okay. Now, that's all we need to do down here. Let's head back up. I guess I'll just climb the sink to get back up. All right, let's go back to the front. And then let's take our elevator back up to the storage floor. All right, back up here to the storage floor. Now, let's head over here to the right of the elevator, right here, facing east. Let's go ahead and take both of these foundations out right here. And then right here on this corner, so directly across from where our elevator is, come over here on this one right here. Let's grab a floor hole and let's place it right in this corner right there. Let's put a conveyor lift on top of that and change it so it's an input like this. Okay, now we need to get that conveyor belt into here. But first, I want to take this and I want to put it so that it's right up against the kind of wall or where our foundation is going to go right here, like so. All right, and then let's see if we can't get this to go in here kind of straight. Straight build mode doesn't really work too well. Curve doesn't really work. Default will definitely work. All right, so we'll put that in there in a default manner. Let's replace our foundations back down here to cover that up. That looks good. Okay, so if we come over here, yeah, all we have to do is just place a wall down here, put a wall hole in there. That should just look fine right there. Okay, so now we have a hole in the floor coming down, so we just drop down to the floor below us down here. All right, and then we just want to keep doing the same thing on every floor. So we'll take another floor hole right here in the corner. See, right there's our floor hole above us. Come down here, right in the corner where the vents meet right there. Again, let's grab a conveyor lift. Let's bring it down. And we'll place that away, like so. Okay. And then, again, we're going to drop down to the floor below us. Another floor hole. Another lift coming down. Dropping down to the next floor. This brings us to floor number 2. Technically, which is kind of where we had our previous storage area at down here, where most of the logistics and things are happening. And again, we're going to put another floor hole right here, directly underneath of that one. And we're going to bring that down and put it right here and connect it into that. There we go. So now you can see we just are barely missing that conveyor belt coming out of the wall right there. This is why I placed it all the way back against that corner like that. All right, so now we should just bring this down one more. All right, we'll take out this foundation right here on the ground floor. We'll take out the one underneath of that 4 meter right there. Okay, and this is a 4 meter foundation right here. This won't do. Let's go ahead and take this out and replace it with a 1 meter. Very good. One more floor hole on this corner. Bring this down. There we go. And then we can replace these back up in there. And in here. There we go. Drop down. Giant rocks kind of in our way, so we'll crouch down. And then all we need to do now is bring this down. One more with a conveyor lift right here. That's going to be our output. We've already got our sink way over here. All you got to do now is connect this up to that over there. Now you can do this as clean or as ugly as you want. It's up to you. We will probably come back and redo every single bit of all of this under stuff later. I don't know yet. I may just leave it just like this. Who knows? It's honestly just a matter of how OCD are you. And since we're down here underneath of everything, we should probably go ahead and run some power cables over to the sink right there. So let's see. Let's grab this guy right here, the wall outlet. Let's kind of place it on the cable right here, right about there. And then we can kind of connect that there to make a separate connection. And then we can run that kind of following these. So we'll go from here all the way over. And then I'm just going to run this all the way up next to our conveyor belt right here until we get it all the way over here where our sink is. Let's see. So right there's our sink. Let's take some walls and place them up behind the sink right there, kind of. Then we'll run a power cable from the sink to the wall. And then we can probably run that down to there and then under. And then we can run it over to here. All right, so our sink now has power, which means anything we put in it is going to make us some coupons. All right, we've got our conveyor belt kind of set up here pretty good. We've got anything that's not going to go into storage is going to come down here and go into the sink. That will keep our lines kind of going so that nothing gets backed up. We definitely don't want any backups on this. And that should probably do everything I need in the tower right now at the moment. We can probably go ahead and just kind of fill up all these gaps right here in the front. Let's go vertical. There we go. That also covers up that conveyor belt coming down through the center right there. And yeah, okay. Now, I think we only have one more thing to do, and it's not here at the tower. We need to make sure that we're getting the beams and the screws and the steel pipes and stuff coming across this belt right here. So, back over here to our starter factory. All right, now back over here at our starter factory, there is going to be a ton of things we're going to need to do in a future episode. But for this episode, we want to get all of our steel parts we're making, as well as those screws right there, across that line over to the tower. We're going to start with this lift, bringing down the steel beams and pipes right here to these two containers, and we're going to get rid of that. And instead, we are going to put a conveyor lift right there on top of that, but let's turn it, yeah, kind of going that direction, like that. Then with build mode set to straight, let's put a Mark III conveyor belt coming from that lift over to right there where it is going across right there. Then we're going to take a merger, we're going to put it on that belt and try to find just the right spot right there, as close to in between those foundations as we can get it. That looks good right there. And now you can see we do have our steel parts going across right now over to our tower factory, but we want to stop that. Let's not do that just yet. We'll let those parts go across, but we want to wait until we have everything ready before we start sending things across. Right now what we want to do is we want to take the screws we have right there. We're going to bring them around, up, and into this merger right here. So let's come over here to our screws underneath of our assembly area right here, and we're going to cut out this line right here. This is all the screws that's going up to make the rotors and modular frames and all that stuff up there. So since we're not making those anymore up there, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this line right here. Then let's step over here, and right here where our coal is coming up, we have these foundations that are going up right here. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of these foundations, which is going to leave a space right here. Let's get rid of this wall. And once we get rid of that wall, you can see right there, that is where our screws are going to be coming out of. We're going to bring them up, and bring them up right here, and then send them into that merger right there. So let's go ahead and get this going here. Let's start with a conveyor lift. Let's put it right in the middle. So I'll lock that into place so I can make sure I get that just right. That looks good. And we'll send that up. Let's see, right about there. Have it going that direction. Let's put a conveyor belt coming out from that conveyor lift right there. And let's get it so it's kind of maybe right there. That kind of looks all right. And we should be able to connect from that lift to this belt now. And that's going to send all the screws we're making right there up through here into this conveyor lift, and it's going up into nowhere just yet. But right here, this should be easy enough to do. We're just going to, again, take a conveyor belt, going to bring it out. Using straight build mode, we want to get it so it's right there. So we'll bring it to there. That should line it up perfectly with that. And then we're just going to run this across as far as we can. And finish off connecting it into the merger. Okay, so now steel beams, steel pipes, and all the screws we are currently making going up through here, ready to be sent across to the tower. We're still not done here just yet though, because that's not going to be enough screws going across to handle the construction we're going to need. If we come over here and we take a look at our constructor that is making those screws, we can see we are only making 75 a minute. We're going to need a lot more than that. So we're going to start with just producing as many as we can. And then in the next episode, we're going to fix all of this so everything is more efficient and we're building enough parts that we can use to make our space elevator parts. The object today, though, is we just want to get stuff going good enough. So right now, I've already got this one overclocked to 150%, making 75 per minute. So we need to overclock this as much as we possibly can. But in order to do that, we're also going to need to overclock our smelter, and we're going to need to fix our miner there. So we're producing enough ore to make enough ingots to produce those screws. Needless to say, in order to do that, we're going to need a few more power shards. But instead of going out and looking for slugs, there's a much better way to do this. We have what we need right here already. Currently, we've got these two Mark I miners right here that are using 2 power shards in each to produce 60 per minute. However, again, they are Mark I. We can upgrade these guys to Mark II, and then we'll no longer even need the power shards in theirs, which will net us 4 power shards from these 2 miners alone. So let's head over here to our workshop, and we're going to need a few portable miners. Let's make 6 of these guys total. And if we go into our build menu, we'll just click on Mark II miner 3 times because we're going to upgrade 3 of these total. And that will tell us what else we need and make sure that we have enough to do all the upgrades. All right, so we're going to need some encased industrial beams. I don't have any of those. I'm going to need 30 of those. We've got our 6 portable miners I just made. A total of 60 steel pipes. That's not a problem. If you don't have enough, there should still be more in one of those containers over there underneath where we're making steel. And we're going to need 30 modular frames. I've got 64, more than enough, but if you do happen to need some more, remember we should still have some in these 2 assemblers right here on top next to our sink here. All I need though are those 30 encased industrial beams, so I'm going to go ahead and make those real quick here on the workbench. Once we have everything we need, we'll come back over here to these 2 miners, the Mark I's right here, that are producing the ore for making steel. And I'm just going to highlight one of these and click on it with my middle mouse button. Now we got that copied. Well, let's hit E, which will turn that into a Mark II. Hover over it, it will turn yellow, and then we'll just upgrade that to a Mark II. Highlight the other one, click on that. There's another Mark II. Now if we check our inventory, I have a total of 5 power shards. I had 1 already. I just got the 4 from these 2 miners. 5 is plenty enough, but let's go all the way back over here to where our screws are being made. Come back here to this miner, mining the iron for making screws and rods. And we are going to do the same thing. We're going to upgrade this guy as well. Make sure to upgrade our belts to Mark IIIs. And now with this Mark II miner, we are bringing in 120 iron ore per minute, which comes along, goes into this splitter right here, divides it into these 2 smelters. This one only needs 45 per minute. We're going to leave this one how it is. This other smelter though, let's go ahead and upgrade this guy with a power shard. Now we're making 60 per minute. Let's see if that's going to be enough. So 60 ingots per minute coming out of the smelter along this, which is also still in Mark I. Let's make sure we upgrade that here. Going into this splitter here, we'll go ahead and upgrade the belts going from there into that constructor right there, and into this other constructor from this splitter. This one needs 25 iron ingots per minute. And this one, this is the one that we're going to need as many as we can possibly get out of. So let's go ahead and take our power shards, throw it into this one, upgrade it all the way to make it 125 per minute. We're going to need 31.25 iron ingots per minute. We'll do the math real quick, telling us we need 56.25. Head back down here to this smelter, and we're making 60 per minute. You know what? I'm just going to leave that as it is. Also got a ton of iron ore in our inventory. We do not need that. Let's go ahead and just get rid of all of that to free up our inventory space. If we take a look at the conveyor lifts coming out of these two constructors right here, making our screws, chances are they are still Mark 1s. Let's go ahead and upgrade those guys to Mark 3s. That way we can push as many screws as possible along these belts down here. Now, as I said earlier, there's still a lot more we're going to need to do over here to make everything more efficient. But this right here is a definite start, and we can go ahead and finish everything up that we need to do now. All right, now we've got 125 screws being made, coming down, going up, along through here, tying in with our steel beams, our steel pipes, and ready to go across to the tower. All right, so if I'm not mistaken, I think that's everything we need to do over here at our starter factory now, except for setting up our truck transport and the trucking route. So for the time being, let's go ahead and get the screws and steel heading back over that way. Let's go ahead and reconnect our conveyor belt from our merger to the main line right here. And if you're having trouble doing that, just go ahead and delete the merger. And let's put this all back in place right here. So rebuild your conveyor belt first. Then we'll put the merger on there like so. And then we'll connect our belt up to our screws right there. All right, that should send everything over there. Let's come over here to our truck station. Let's go ahead and get that connected to some electricity. We will start it off by going from here to, we'll go to that pole right there. That'll be fine. We'll go ahead and get a conveyor belt from our mergers right there in front of our containers going into the truck station. If you've got any coal on you, go ahead and throw that coal into our truck station fuel spot right here. Make sure it is set for loading. And then we just need to build ourselves a tractor. So we'll go to transport, select the tractor. I'm going to have mine going this direction, turn it around, and then going down. So I'm going to put it this way. So right there you can see the little steering wheel and the seat right there. So we're going to have it right underneath of here, like so. Let's go ahead and hop on, open our record menu, and we're going to start recording. Close the record menu, and off we go. So I'll immediately start by turning around, heading over here by the hub, down our ramp, over here by the rocks, and we'll just make our way around, coming down this way, and make a turn here, go up our ramps, go to the right, into this truck station where we're going to be unloading. So I'll stop here for just a second, and then we'll take back off again, make a left, turn this way out, make another left right here, and then we're just going to follow our route back. Since we're only going to ever have like one tractor here, most likely, we don't need to worry about having it like a left and right lane. We'll probably eventually build some like nice highway ramps and stuff here, and then we'll just bring it up and then back over here to our truck station where it will end. Path recording completed. I'll hit R to save the path. We'll call this starter to tower and hit save. Bring up our record menu. Let's enable autopilot. And at this point, you can choose whether you want to show or hide your path. I'm going to hit X to hide the path. You can also do it right here, hide path modes. Close out of our menu, jump off the tractor, and there it goes. So it's going to take everything from this truck station here, run it over to our tower factory. I mean, assuming, you know, Jeffrey doesn't get in the way here. Then it's going to bring everything over here where it will then unload. We just have to make sure we go into our truck station, and we need to click that this is an unload station. There we go. All right, so now it's set to unload. It's probably trying to load right now, though, because I didn't get to it in time. But our next one around should bring the stuff in. if we head up here to the train station and assembly floor right here, and we pop over here to one of these open spaces we have, all we have to do now is just wait for our truck to come back. Let's see where he's at here. Oh, I see it there in the distance coming down the ramp, so we'll just wait a few minutes. It should come over here, unload, and start sending this stuff up. All right, going into the loading station now. And now, any minute now, we should start seeing stuff coming up and getting sorted out. Any minute now. Any second. Okay, something's wrong here. All right, we'll start troubleshooting down here at our truck station. Taking a look here. And I see the problem already. Okay, so apparently we need to connect our conveyor lifts here to the actual truck station. It didn't automatically connect those, so we'll do that real quick. Probably fuel too. Ah, yep, I see the stuff going in now. Okay, so we should be good. Might want to grab some fuel out of here and make sure, yep, our truck stopped. Sure enough, it ran out of fuel. I didn't have enough for it. I'll go ahead and throw some in there now. And that will get him back on his way. All right, now everything should be flowing. Let's go down here and take a look here. Let's see. Yeah, I see wire coming through, the copper wire. I see it being sorted down there too, which is kind of strange. Why are we sending copper wire through but also sorting it? Let's take a look at that real quick. Oh, apparently because we have the copper wire smart splitter set for any in the middle, and that needs to be overflow, not just any. Okay, that should fix it. All right, now we have reinforced iron plates coming through. All right, it appears as though everything seems to be flowing correctly. Nothing's stopping, so that's a good thing. Are the assemblers assembling? It doesn't look like it. Looks like they're waiting on stuff. Steel pipes? Why are the steel pipes not running? What's going on there? Okay, going through there. Yeah. Going in here. Coming around. Not going into this merger for some reason. Why is that? Let's take that lift out and then we'll put it back in. So I think I may know the problem here on what happened. So I'm going to fix this back the way we had it right here. So I'll lock it here and then nudge it over so it's right there. It says it's going into it. And then we will reverse it like so. And do we have screws and stuff now? No. Okay, so I think the issue here is that when I'm nudging it over, we're not getting a conveyor belt in between these two. Yep, that's what it is. All right, so we'll fix that. All right, now, steel pipes, screws, all that stuff should be going in there now. I'm seeing plenty of steel, not seeing any screws, but I know those screws are on that line somewhere. Oh, yep, there they are. Just had to wait for it all to come across that line because we sent so much steel through first. Okay, now our assemblers are assembling. Let's see here. We're making the stators. We are making rotors. And if we come over here, it looks like all three of our modular frame assemblers are also working just fine. All right, now we just have one more piece of the puzzle to put together. Let's head up to the next floor. Okay, so we're making all the parts that we need to start putting together the pieces to complete phase 2. However, we're not actually making those pieces. We still have to power up these assemblers that are going to be making our smart plates, versatile frameworks, and our automated wiring. All right, so we've got 3 machines on this side and we've got 2 machines on this side. One of our power posts can handle 4 lines. All right, so as is typically my fashion so far, let's go ahead and connect power lines coming off of each machine to a power pole and behind it and make sure that it's all lined up right there. So right about there. Coming down here on this end for the second machine here, we'll do another one right here. Come across over here to these 3 machines, do the exact same thing, bring a line out, and right here, and our last one right there. Having them all in line, let's go ahead and connect all 3 of these up now. Then we'll connect these 2 on this side together. Then let's run that to, you know what, let's run that to the ceiling. So I'm just going to do it straight up from there And then I'll run a power line from that one on the ceiling over here to this side. And we'll run it kind of in line right there. So let's see, directly above me should be right about here. And then we'll come down from there and connect to this pole. And that should connect all 5 of these assemblers together into one circuit. We just need to get that circuit connected to the rest of the power of the tower. Alright, so let's try this. Right here where our 2 assemblers are, let's go ahead and connect one more power line onto that connector on the ceiling right there. And then we'll run that over to the edge right there. Then we'll connect a power line from there. And let's drop down here to our assemblers down here. Connect it to that edge. And then from there onto this power pole here. Now I admit it's not the prettiest sight, but it should get the job done. Heading back up to this floor, we've got green lights on all the assemblers. That's a good thing. Well, mostly green. Occasionally I am seeing them turn yellow, but that just means they're waiting on parts, which that's fair. All right, we've got versatile frameworks going through here. Here's some smart plates, and I even see automated wiring coming around as well. That means we are making everything we need. The question is it making it all the way up to the space elevator? And the answer is yes. Everything seems to be working. Looking over at our objective for completing phase 2 over there, I am seeing our numbers going up. We've got 8 smart plates going in, 6 versatile frameworks, and now we have 2 automated wirings. Now we're a long way from the 1,000 of the first 2 and 100 of the automated wiring that we need, but this is a start. It has been a long journey, but my designs are paying off and my tower is becoming a reality now. The only thing left to do is to make our starter factory and everything else more efficient so that we're making more of the starter parts in order to complete phase 2. But that's going to be the goal for the next episode. For now, that is going to be it for this episode of How to Satisfactory. Thank you everybody for watching. I very much appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me, staying tuned. We've come a long way. We really have. It's taken us a long time to get here. And I know you guys have been curious about what exactly my plans have been for the tower ever since we actually first built it. But hopefully now you can see kind of where things are kind of going to be going. And yeah, I can't wait to build even more onto this and really get going with it and really ramping everything up. So until then, wherever you guys are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And I'll see you in the next episode of How to Satisfactory.